was the happiest little baby. He did cry a lot at night, and we found out that he was hungry, mostly. He grew fast. Actually ate his food, his milk, very well, and was a very chubby little guy. But we didn't know anything about his problem until he was about 1.5, and he wasn't crawling or anything. So we took him to the doctor because other children, in the same building, there were other young children, and they were already crawling and they were starting to walk. So the doctor told me when he was about 14 or 15 months old, I think, that Jeffrey has muscular dystrophy, because it was a mystery as to why he wasn't crawling, he wasn't walking, he wasn't trying to pull up. Then, of course, he sent me to the Muscular Dystrophy Association, and I was wanting to just try to heal the whole disease, to find the cure, and my husband, who was in advertising, was also trying to help. So I became sort of a leader of the whole group of parents. In fact, I started the Muscular Dystrophy Parent Group in Chicago. But all of these things kind of were just ways that we were trying to help and raise money. And when I came to California later on, a few years later, I actually worked with Jerry Lewis trying to raise money for muscular dystrophy. But my son did decline constantly until he passed away at age 16. Well, the thing that really affected us the most was I couldn't work anymore as a model, and I was really just staying home with Jeffrey because I didn't feel comfortable leaving him with just a maid or a person there. He needed a lot of help. He did have some dietary problems, but it wasn't connected to the problem that he didn't walk. So I just devoted myself to him, and we had some neighbors in the same building that had a little girl who was like a friend of his. So I tried everything in my power, but it was just so hard. We weren't having the income from my working as a model and actress. My husband was working as an advertising director. So after a while, the divorce happened. I guess it was just hard. Many families that have that to deal with a son with a problem, usually get a divorce. So I moved to California, had a wonderful job with Max Factor, brought Jeffrey with me. It was very hard because I had no child care for him. So I had to give up my job, and I thought of something that would help other parents. That's when I thought of the Jeffrey Foundation. So Jeffrey was about 7, I think, when a friend of mine so kindly, when at the holiday time, at Christmas time, he gave me something, a box, and I opened it up. And here inside the box were the papers to the Jeffrey Foundation. And I said, "What am I supposed to do with this?" He said, "You want to help these kids? Here's the Jeffrey Foundation." So we then started we had the little groups of parents that would get together, and mostly children with dystrophy, but there were some with cerebral palsy and other mental disabilities. So the Jeffrey Foundation was born out of the situation that was going on with my own son, and he loved it. He said, "Mom, how did we start the Jeffrey Foundation?" I said, "Well, your uncle gave us this foundation, and we're going to do this now." "Well, great," he said. And so he'd go along with us to Disneyland, taking the trips to the ocean and everything, and he was enjoying it with the other children. So Jeffrey was at one of the first elementary schools that accepted children with disabilities. In fact, he was in the first class. We used to know the teacher very well. She's retired, of course. So they were just learning in LA Unified Schools how to deal with disabled kids in the classroom. And of course, I was a mother that was very active, and I was still doing work with the Jerry Lewis Cinema. And actually, I got a job trying to sell Jerry Lewis's movie theaters all over the United States. So from this springboard, I did contact a lot of people all across the country, and found that there was a problem everywhere. No one knew what to do with these children, and the schools weren't ready for it. So I would start to have after-school programs in the schools, LA Unified Schools. I was the first person to start that for all special needs children. I had 3 locations. I'd drive around in my car with supplies, and I'd hire a teacher from each school, and they would keep those kids after school so parents like me could work. Of course, I never went back to work. Jeffrey Foundation became my whole livelihood. And actually, it's been a pleasure to see it grow. Almost 50 years now, and we started it, Jeffrey and I. At the Jeffrey Foundation. This is Lorraine.
We're still doing wonderful things.
Yes, and she remembers all the children. In fact, her own children went here when they were little.
Right.
So we're kind of a family here at Jeffrey Foundation. So have you had any calls from parents today?
Not today,
Okay.
no, but I have a wait list for the students.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
So she keeps track of the list of
Mhm.
children that are trying to get into the program.
Yes.
And then she does all of the paperwork.
I am so stunned by the fact that you can walk in this building. It's quiet, it's calm. The children are happy, they're relaxed, they're playing. There's no distress, there's no tension. You can't do that in any school with kids this age.
Well, without the Jeffrey and Alice, what would these children do? Where would they go? There is not another group or a school that does the training and the teaching and the rehabilitation that Alice does here. I mean, this is probably, and I have looked to see where else, what are they doing? What could we do to make ours better? But there is no better, truthfully, than Alice and what the Jeffrey Foundation does for these children.
The challenges are, like many nonprofits, to find financial suitors that have the desire and the ability to actually help. And they are far and few in between, as you can imagine. I think, though, that the tenacity that Alyce Morris has to continue this operation, to solicit the help of friends and others that would provide sweat equity, financial resources, though there aren't very many, has really helped this organization to exist. I think the love of children, especially exceptional children in this case, has really helped the organization.
After having our center here for almost 40 years at this location, we are going to be having some young ladies who are teachers, and they're also working with special needs children, to carry on our program here at the Jeffrey Foundation. I will be moving across the street to our parenting center, which has been there to help with the city of Los Angeles, who has helped me with all the buildings here. And we will be starting Special Child USA, which is an entity already, nonprofit, serving children that are not able to go to school, could be at home, and serving them all over the United States with Special Child USA. So I'm very proud to announce the grand opening will be on May the 7th. Jeffrey's birthday was May 8th. My birthday's May 4th. So on May the 7th of this year, we're going to open our Special Child USA and inviting everyone to come to an open house.